the Cowboys' win over Washington came at a heavy cost. Just hours after the final whistle, devastating news surfaced that has Cowboys Nation on edge and could dramatically impact what comes next. Details are still unfolding, but the timing, the severity, and the implications make this one of the most concerning developments of the season. Fans are holding their breath, insiders are scrambling, and the road ahead for Dallas suddenly looks a lot more complicated. This is urgent, and it changes everything. Stop everything, Cowboys Nation, because what just came out after the Washington Commanders game has completely flipped the mood in Dallas upside down. Just hours ago, fans were celebrating, debating playoff scenarios, talking about momentum, and feeling like maybe just maybe this team had finally found some rhythm. And then this news dropped. And when I say devastating, I mean the kind of update that makes you put your phone down, stare at the wall, and ask yourself how this keeps happening to the Dallas Cowboys year after year. Let's rewind for a second. The Cowboys walked off the field against Washington believing they survived another ugly NFC East battle. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't pretty. But it felt like a win that could stabilize things. Players were talking about resilience. Coaches were talking about building off this. Fans were already looking ahead to the next matchup. But behind the scenes, something was brewing, and now it's out in the open. According to multiple reports coming out of the Cowboys facility, Dallas has been hit with a major internal setback that could completely change the direction of the rest of the season. And no, this isn't just social media noise or overreaction. This is real, and it's serious. The first part of the update centers around a key Cowboys player whose status is now in major doubt. Early optimism after the Commanders game suggested it was nothing serious. You've heard that line before. Cowboys fans have heard it too many times. What started as "we'll evaluate it" has now turned into deep concern inside the organization. Team sources are quietly admitting that the injury is worse than initially believed, and there is real fear that Dallas could be without this player for an extended stretch, possibly longer than anyone expected. And that's just the beginning. What makes this update even more painful is the timing. The Cowboys are not in a position to absorb hits like this. This isn't a roster loaded with depth at every position. This is a team already juggling inconsistencies, injuries, and pressure from all sides. Losing a core contributor right now doesn't just hurt, it exposes every crack in the foundation. Inside the locker room, the mood has reportedly shifted fast. Players who were upbeat after the win are now described as concerned and quiet. Coaches are scrambling behind closed doors, reviewing contingency plans that they hoped they wouldn't need. And front office executives are facing uncomfortable questions about how prepared this team really is for adversity. Now let's talk about why this news is being described as devastating and not just unfortunate. This isn't a rotational piece. This isn't someone you can just plug and play. This is someone the Cowboys' entire game plan revolves around on one side of the ball or the other. Removing that presence forces Dallas to fundamentally change how they operate, and that's never a good sign this late in the season. Even worse, the Commanders' game itself may have played a role in this situation. There are whispers that the workload, the play-calling decisions, and the way certain snaps were handled are now being questioned internally. That's right, some within the Cowboys' own circle are wondering if this could have been prevented, or at least minimized. And when that conversation starts, it never ends well. Fans are already reacting emotionally, and honestly, it's understandable. Social media has exploded with frustration, anger, and disbelief. Some are blaming the coaching staff. Others are pointing fingers at the medical team. And then there's a growing group asking the most dangerous question of all: is this season slipping away right in front of us? Because here's the harsh truth. The margin for error is gone. Completely gone. Every game from here on out matters. Every snap matters. And now, Dallas might be forced to navigate the most important stretch of the season without one of its most important weapons. But wait, there's more. Because as this injury update was coming out, another bombshell quietly followed it. This one isn't about health. It's about the future. Sources around the league are reporting that the Cowboys are now dealing with serious internal discussions regarding roster decisions that could shock fans. Decisions that were expected to be pushed to the offseason are suddenly being fast-tracked. Why? Because this latest setback has forced the organization to reassess everything. We're talking about potential changes that could impact starting roles, snap counts, and even long-term plans for certain players. Nothing is officially announced yet, but the fact that these conversations are happening at all tells you how shaken the Cowboys are by this situation. And you can't ignore the pressure coming from the outside. National media is already circling. Analysts are questioning whether Dallas can survive another major blow. Rival fanbases are laughing, waiting for the collapse they believe is inevitable. And Cowboys fans, once again, are stuck defending a team that keeps finding new ways to hurt them. What's especially brutal is that this update reinforces the same storyline we see every year. Hope builds. Momentum starts to form. Then something happens. An injury. A collapse. A controversy. And suddenly, the Cowboys are back in crisis mode. Players are human. They feel this. They hear the noise. They know what people are saying. And when a team starts pressing because of fear of losing, fear of failure, fear of another wasted season, that's when the stakes pile up. The coaching staff now faces its biggest test. Adjustments must be made immediately. Younger players may be forced into roles they're not ready for. Veterans will be asked to do more, to carry more weight, to lead in ways they weren't expecting to. And the quarterback, more than anyone, will be under a microscope. Every throw, every decision, every result will be magnified tenfold. And let's be real, if things go south from here, this devastating update will be remembered as the turning point. The moment when the season shifted from "we still have a chance" to "what could have been." But here's the other side of it. And this is important. Moments like this can either break a team or define it. This is where true contenders respond. This is where leaders emerge. This is where excuses disappear. The Cowboys can still fight. They can still rally. They can still shock people. But only if they respond the right way, and that response has to start now. The next few days will be critical. Practice reports. Injury designations. Coach speak. Every word will be dissected. Every hint will matter. Fans need to prepare themselves for the possibility that the worst-case scenario becomes reality, but also stay ready in case Dallas pulls off something unexpected. Because one thing about the NFL is this: chaos creates opportunity. And while this update is undeniably devastating, it also forces the Cowboys to reveal who they really are. Are they resilient or fragile? Focused or fractured? Ready to fight or ready to fold? Cowboys Nation, this is one of those moments that defines a season. The news is ugly. The timing